So this is mainly for people that are very new to Topcoder. So it's going to be a pretty high level view of what we are and then what we could offer you guys as far as getting placed into jobs, earning income, and things like that, especially for our United States developers. So for some context, we're having a lot of opportunities in the pipeline in order to fill requests for clients, specifically asking for developers located within the United States. So this is for like a whole host of reasons. Some include some security reasons, some include time zone preferences, different things where they really just want a person in the United States, not necessarily in the office. And because throughout this presentation, I'll also tell you Topcoder works fully remotely. So all our clients access us and access our talent all via remote and digitally. So you don't actually have to go into work. So that's kind of a standard Topcoder engagement. We do nothing on the client site. It's all done virtually for everything that we do. All right, so just a quick intro to Topcoder itself. So we do call ourselves a community. So we have developers, data scientists, everybody all around the world. And we currently have about 1.5 million members. We grow a lot each month, and our presence is primarily in like the United States, China, India are kind of like our biggest like feeders into the program. So this company started off like in 2001, 2000 as a startup within like the United States itself. We later got acquired by a company called Aperio, which is meaning like a Salesforce like cloud type company. And after that, Aperio got acquired by our current parent company called Wipro Technologies, which is just a big systems integrator that works out of India across all around the world. So that's our like a big Indian reach got through, and as well as all these other places like around the world as well. So our ability to access talent all around the world is pretty wide. You know, of those 1.5 million members, like a small percentage of folks are active. We're trying to improve that through different offerings that we have, including talent as a service, which I'll kind of go into a little bit more in detail. So this is just some quick stats on us, mainly focusing on how much money we've paid to the community over the last. Well, we haven't been fully doing this, paying the community for the last 20 years, so maybe in the last like 15 years or so, we put out about $100 million like to the community. So these are different challenges, competitions in which we are able to get like a client requirement, break it down into usable parts that we could turn into basically competitions to write code, to make designs, to build algorithms. And then the people that place the best get the highest prize amount of money for second place, second place, third place. And that's where all that money comes from. And okay, right straight to it. So there's basically two ways that you can earn money with Topcoder. So the first one I mentioned is sort of our cornerstone and our bread and butter, what you call like our challenges or like an outcome-based model. So basically you compete against other folks and you win money. These competitions last about like 5 to 10 days. And it basically breaks down a large unit of work into smaller units of work, and you compete based off those. So for example, you're building a mobile app. There's a front end portion, there's a back end portion, there's a API portion, there's a QA portion, and all those are like, consider those like separate competitions. So if you win an aspect of that competition, then you earn that money. So prize money could be anywhere between, like $1,200, which for like some developers could be, 4 hours of work, 24 hours of work. It's hard to really base it off of time. That's what we kind of use like an outcome-based model for this. So whatever amount of effort they could put in there, and if it equals, you getting the prize, then you win the prize. So this model has worked really well for us, and it's our primary like form of revenue. So we like it because philosophically, when you talk about competition, competition breeds excellence and it breeds like hard quality output. And that's what we kind of noticed from this model over the last like 10 or 15 years or so. High exposure, so you get access to like a lot of different developers with a lot of different perspectives. And the great thing about Topcoder is for the folks that place high enough within the competitions, you get to see the other person's work. So you get to improve upon your own work, you get to see what top developers are, how they're coding things, how they're thinking about the problem, etc. which is great from like a learning aspect, especially for like intermediate to like advanced developers to continue to get better at what they're doing. Another big aspect of this challenge model is everything is managed by Topcoder itself. So if the outcome isn't good, then we own that. We are the ones putting together the code. We have all the repositories. We have everything that's kind of managed under us, and then we just deliver the outcome to the client. So that's just to give you a background on what we do at Topcoder, like as a whole, and what our kind of like original bread and butter is. Now, the primary part of this conversation is this right side of like the slide, talent as a service. So this is very much different from what we've done before, and this is the focus of this conversation. So basically, all it is you work at full-time rates, directly with our clients, which is a lot different from like an outcome-based model where you win prizes and you have all these different competitions, etc. So there's a set rate that we give you, and then you're tied to a client, and that client manages that work themselves. So again, it is our newest offering, and all we're doing is our form of staff augmentation, basically. So our clients request X amount of people with XYZ skills. We find those people within the community, or community members apply to those opportunities, and then we try to match those requirements, and then we place them onto jobs. This is all done remotely. There is no on-site work done here at all, and you're getting paid by Topcoder, but the work is all managed by like the client itself. Just to give you an idea of the clients that we have, they range in all different industries, all different domains. Some of the ones I can openly tell you about will be Zurich Insurance, which is like a big parent company to a bunch of other like subsidiary insurance companies around the world, including like Farmers in the United States, etc. So we do a lot with financial services. We do a lot with healthcare. We're starting to do a lot with oil and gas. We do what else? We do some things for some small startups too. Recently, we just built like a fitness app for like this guy that has been a long time client of ours. He put down some money, and then we built the app within 15 days, and then we're kind of done. So there's everything from like a small scale, start trying to build an application, all the way to your Fortune 500 company, building like an internal portal for the employees to, like an internal HR system, or just an internal sales system to track what people sell. Like it's all up and down across the board, different things that any developer, any client that needs something to be developed, we could potentially do that through our community. With talent as a service, though, why does this exist in the first place? One, work is, there's a lot of client work that requires restricted or special access. So whether that's a background check, whether that is something that you don't want to openly expose to like open source, there's a whole host of reasons why you don't want an open public competition for the work that you're doing, whether it's secretive, whether it's a PII that you're dealing with, whatever it may be. Sometimes it's just client preference too. So some people don't like or don't understand the challenge model. So going through tasks is a more familiar model where you could just basically hire developers to work on your work with you. And it's also like a Topcoder member preference. So over the years, folks do participate like in the challenge model, and those that are good at it and consistently good at it do find it as a steady source of income. But for others, not necessarily, right? So whether it's you're dealing with work, like other type of work, you're dealing with like family issues, depending on your country, you need like health insurance. There's different things that kind of factor into having want to have a more steady income for the amount of time they put into work, and that's where kind of talent as a service kind of generates into. I'm going to pause for a second. Does anybody have any questions about this so far? Any questions at all? Yeah, whenever you have questions, just feel free to chime up. Not too many folks here, so you could just openly ask your questions. I'll answer them right at the spot. All right, going on. So talent services, this is a high level, pretty straightforward. pretty straightforward with what we're doing here. So first thing you do is apply for an opportunity, which is on the task website, which we can also send to you later. So topcoder.com/community/task. We have all their open opportunities listed there right now, based on the different areas: full stack, backend, front end, data science, and some more like mobile and product specific type opportunities. So right now we have some of those could be for United States developers. Those aren't our specific ones that are coming out yet. So we have some in the pipeline that be coming out specifically for people located like within the United States. If you see opportunities that are requiring you to, be available during certain times or time zones, those still could apply to you. It just could be like a little rough, depending on time zones and how early or late you like to wake up and everything. But feel free to look at those at any point in time throughout like the next couple of weeks. We'll be having more and more opportunities on there, and then we have a lot on there right now. It's going to continue to grow. So first step is just look on there and apply for an opportunity. Second, so for a lot of folks that are going to be listening to this recording or on this call right now, you'll probably need to get evaluated. So the way that we are able to determine who is a good developer or not is based off of our own rating system. So people that have competed on Topcoder for like a number of years, or if they're just very active and only done it in the last couple of months, they develop a color rated rating scale. So it goes all the way to blue, goes all the way to red, red being like the highest rated. It's based off of your performance and performance of your peers within a set of competitions. We have algorithm around that kind of determines what your kind of color ends up being and how it grows and how it declines with the amount of work that you do. So this is our best way to understand who you are and how you could perform as a developer. So, a lot of the folks that might be on this call have not competed with Topcoder, maybe have never heard of Topcoder and there'll be it'll be a long road ahead to kind of develop a rating for it. So this is the option 2 of getting evaluated is to actually, we're going to run like a test for you. So we have a Salesforce evaluation process. We have an iOS evaluation process. We have what we're calling the full stack developer evaluation process. And we have all these live right now. Some of them were posted publicly a few weeks ago, but going forward, you'll be able to request these via like that test webpage to get evaluated for these different opportunities. So evaluations come in about 2 to 3 different levels. One is kind of like a basic, do you understand, what like Swift development is? Do you understand what like dot development is? And it kind of grows into basically, hey, build this web app. You keep it pretty simple, but we keep it to like the fundamentals of what we think you should know at a certain level of being, one of these different type of developers, knowing these different types of technologies. So once you actually go through that process, then we consider you qualified to be in that pool. And as soon as something opens up, we'll either contact you or you could still apply, and we'll get you placed immediately. So that's kind of the evaluation process in a nutshell. Compete. If you choose not to, if we don't have evaluations open, or you don't want to, undergo an evaluation, you can just compete on regular Topcoder opportunities that pop up on the challenge listings page, which I could share details with you a little bit later. So on the challenge listings page, there's all the open challenges from what I was talking about on the left side of the previous screen, where it showed everything that the cornerstone of what we do at Topcoder, which is just kind of folks competing on different code challenges, design challenges. So if you're able to compete on with these challenges, do well, or at least like pass review, then the skill sets associated with that challenge get marked up into your Topcoder profile. And then we could track like your progress on different skills that you are competing in. So that's another way to do that. You could obviously do both, because as I go over in the next slide, the more you develop your record at Topcoder, the better you'll get placed on these different opportunities. So once you undergo all that, and if you meet the client's requirements, you applied for it, you're okay with the rate, you're okay with all these things, then boom, we place you. And I'm going to go a little bit more in detail with what that process looks like. So the application process. You apply on the Topcoder website. Folks with strong Topcoder records, we're going to prioritize, but the volume of work that we're looking at in the pipeline is pretty big. So we're going to need people to be evaluated through like our evaluation funnel, which will include all you guys. So as opportunities come up, we'll post them on the website. If you meet those requirements, definitely apply. And if you don't have a Topcoder record, we'll have you go through the evaluation process if you choose to opt into that. So with Topcoder, usually there's no interview. So like our placement is entirely based on us telling the client that you're good, that your rating's good, that we know that you're reliable, that we know that you know the technologies, and therefore like the interviews aren't necessary at all. This has been successful so far, and we just recently launched like tasks. So the idea would be, you've gone through this pipeline, you got a Topcoder record, you went through this evaluation, and you're good to go. So there's no interview involved, just on the back end of that, you agreeing to the opportunity itself with whatever the rate is, and you gain a verification of the job description that you can do it and you're willing to commit X amount of time to the opportunity. The task engagements tend to be anywhere between like 1 and 3 months, with the possibility of it becoming much longer. So right now we're piloting this with a lot of our different clients, and the more that they like it, they'll likely want to do like longer engagements. So right now the expectation is about 1 to 3 months, depending on the requirement. But these could grow into 6 to 12 month opportunities and offer you kind of like long-term work for like a longer period of time. Onboarding. So onboarding will be different for each client. Some require physical hardware, so you have to either pick up or have physical hardware shipped to you, whether it's some kind of token, whether it's some, depending on what the requirement is, who knows what it will be. Some companies require background checks, mainly for like our financial services clients. So even though you're undergoing a full background check, it's you're not necessarily, you still have a relationship with Topcoder. You don't necessarily have a relationship with the company that we're putting into, if that makes sense. But it's still for them just to be able to make sure that you are who you say you are, and you don't have anything like malicious in your past before they put you onto systems which expose like client information. Also in the onboarding process, you eventually be connected to whoever your team leader is, whoever your manager is, like on the other side. So that's who we consider like our end user for like the task. So what does Topcoder provide? So we aren't managing the work. We aren't managing the outcome. There's no expectation outcome. We're simply providing you at a rate for a certain period of time. We do monitor your performance based off of some feedback loops that we develop with your managers and with our clients, just to make sure we're staying on track. But for all the interaction is all up to you and all up to that client on the client site. Payments is always a good one. So our plan right now, what we've done successfully so far, is weekly payments. So every week, Sunday, Monday, after you complete a week of work, we'll pay you for that week of work. This all goes into your Topcoder account. So if you're not familiar with our payment system, we have internal payment systems called PACS, and then it ties to, and you kind of build up a bunch of money within that account, and then you can release that payment anytime you want to, especially after an initial 15-day period. So you can use things like Wells Fargo, Payoneer, and some other like applications to be able to take the money out of your account and put it into like your own United States account. I think United States wise, a lot of the rates for these like different companies that we had to take money into your account is like pretty good. But I would have to double check that a little bit. You guys can check that out as well. So right now, payments are part of based off of like your competition rating. We're still in development of how a payment system could look like, or a rating, a payment scale could look like with you guys, with the United States like developers. So generally speaking, right now we have on the high side of the red rating member, our standard payment is like $2,000 per week. And on the low side for like an entry level person, it's about like $800 like per week. So with our United States developers, we plan to up that by maybe about like another like 50%. So based off of wherever you stand like initially, based off your Topcoder record, that'll be kind of the entry level income that you end up getting. So as we go along and as we have these longer like client engagements and you work yourselves, you prove yourself within a period of like a 1 or 2 months, we could definitely relook at this payment and keep on upping it up as both sides get comfortable with like the work that you're producing. So depending on who you are and what income you make right now, you may think that it's a little bit likely a little low, but you could also see it potentially high depending on what you do. But you plan to get at least parity with market rates with our United States developers. So that's something that we'll be looking at as we get more firm opportunities in the pipeline for you guys. I could talk more in detail about that one-on-one if you guys want to email me. But then that's probably that conversation will come a little bit more after once we actually get you evaluated, get you qualified, etc. Okay, and that's all I got right now. Does anybody have any questions on anything I presented? We still got plenty of time, but I am open to whatever you guys got. Jesse, are they able to just talk up, or do they have to type in? I'm not sure.
I believe I can unmute them. No, I don't believe I can. I'm sorry. This is more of a webinar. However,
okay.
You can ask questions in the chat or through the Q&A.
Okay. Yeah, if you have any questions, just put in the Q&A and you can answer it on the spot. Any questions at all? My email is task.community@topcoder.com, taas.community@topcoder.com. That's what we're using for all our task communications with the community, and that inbox goes directly to me. So if there's any questions, how can I see what positions are open? Yes, so you would need to go to the Topcoder task website, which I have here on the left-hand side on my screen. It's www.topcoder.com/community/tasks. That's where we have all our open opportunities. I know some task postings have projects in other countries. Do we need to be available during those hours for the entire work week? Generally, yes. Especially for like stand-up meetings. So like every agile team will be like a little bit different. But in order to be safer, like the expectation is that you're generally working during those hours so you can be available for anything that needs to be brought up. Let's see.
Glenn, do you want to ask them if there's nothing in particular that they're looking for, but just definitely apply in the general intake form if you want to explain that?
Yeah, sure. Actually, let me just go to the website too, so I can actually just show folks.
I think that would be great. And one other thing that might be a good thing to share too, and maybe some of the projects that people are doing right now or past projects to give them an example.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let's first go to the website. So it's topcoder.com community/tasks. So on this website, once you get here, once it loads up for me, we have it divided by full stack, front end, back end, mobile, data science, product specific. I think the only one that actually needs a little bit of explanation is this product specific one. These are things that require knowledge on a specific, like application or product, whether it's like SharePoint, ServiceNow, Oracle, different things like that. Mobile, pretty straightforward. Data science, pretty straightforward. So one of the ones that we are live on right now is Salesforce development. And we're still actually looking for developers for this, but mainly from like for the Indian time zone region. So with this, some of the clients had some logistical hardware requirements. They had some other like special access requirements. We were able to fulfill that within a few different weeks, onboarded like a few members, and they just started working today. So those are the one live opportunities that are going on. This full stack developer one, this one is about to go live as well with a few different developers also working within like the Indian time zone primarily. So those are some things we got going on right now, some things that we're filling in the near future. So that's what I put the early stage here, because it's still like an early stage of development with the client as far as the opportunity itself. Android, a lot of Android stuff, and a lot of senior type roles too. So if you, I took off the years of experience here previously, but just because you don't have the number of years experience required, but you think that you have the requisite knowledge required, for these, just feel free to apply to, and we can put you through the evaluation process if you need it, and or if you have a good enough Topcoder record, we can just go ahead and place you. We got some cool data science opportunities coming as well. Things to do with like deep learning, machine learning, also things that center around like the Android system as well. But these are growing, and they will keep on growing throughout the process. And what Jesse was talking about earlier, also one, if you don't have a Topcoder record, you can go directly to like an evaluation survey, which we could see what technologies you want to be evaluated on. That's another place to go to. And if you're interested in tasks in general, and you just don't see anything that you like, and you just want to be open to different email communications and newsletters that we post, apply here as well. And this is our, what we call like our general intake. So I canvass this every fairly often for any open opportunities that we have to proactively reach out to you guys as well. So if you want a proactive reach out, feel free to apply there. If you just want to go ahead and opt into individual ones, you can apply to those individual opportunities as well. So there's a couple of ways that we could reach out to you if you're just not on the website. But this has been updating, every other day, almost every day, since we're just getting more and more opportunities. We have another one coming up for one of our bigger clients for about like 30 full stack developers. So we definitely have demand, and we need you guys to, if you want a job, like, we'll get it to you. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Topcoder doesn't take a fee for any of the work that you do. It's whatever the rate is, that's the rate that you get. And it's pretty straightforward. Any other questions? Let's see what I got here. How long does it take to hear or get an assessment test once applied for a job? So assessment test wise, right now it's based off of whatever the client requirements are. So if there is not an existing client requirement for a test, then it might be a while before we make another test. We're trying to open up the queue with like a lot of different tests right now. But if it's something that's lower priority, like right now we don't have any requirements for any like Python developers, for example, or at least just like a pure like Python developer. So if you are a Python developer, you want to get evaluated, that might take a little while until we have something in the pipeline that requires like Python development. Although we do have an open full stack iOS, Android, Kotlin developers, and Salesforce currently open right now. So if your skill set is any of those, we can evaluate you pretty much immediately. And I think I missed what the other question was. How can I see what open positions? I did that one. How long does it take to hear? Oh yeah, just to hear back to actually get a job or not. It will be based off of whatever requirements are on there. So if you apply in the general intake, you'll get an introductory email eventually. Not eventually, introductory email initially. And then after that, if there's nothing that really comes up as a requirement, then you won't really hear back for a while. If you apply for a specific opportunity, usually I try to get back to you within a week with whatever the status is, whether that we need you to be validated technology, whether you're moving forward, or whether the client already picked someone and they're moving on to someone else. Or another example, we have a React Native opportunity posted. It's still posted live, but we're getting close to getting client acceptance of like a few folks, and they'll be closing that opportunity pretty soon. So once it closes, then you'll know that it closes. If you've been selected, you'll know that you've been selected. If you're in the queue, you should know that you'll be in the queue for it. So it just kind of depends. It takes a while sometimes with these hiring cycles the company has. And so based off of that, we kind of go off of that, and we can't really force it too much other than just having them update us on what the status is of these different projects that we have. All right. Any other questions? We've got a lot of time. No problem. Bisou. All right. What other questions you guys got? Are there any opportunities Monday through Friday? I do not mind working on Saturdays, but I do not like working on Sundays. So generally with these opportunities, it's just normal work. So if you're a team, your team isn't likely working on the weekend. So it'll probably be like a Monday to Friday, based on like their time zone primarily. So, so I mean, like the only caveat to that is, it's you still have a good amount of flexibility, right? So if you understand what the requirements are, and depending on how the team is, if you could get a requirement done, within 2 hours, it doesn't mean you have to sit at your desk in your home for like another like 6 hours, right? So there's going to be some learning opportunities that we have as we kind of move this forward with what like full-time work looks like. But like at a minimum, it's always like meeting the client's requirements, right? The only restriction that we have on that would be not to work more than 8 hours, and that's something that we want to that will be monitoring as well, if that makes sense. All right. Any other questions? Anything for automated testing? Right now, not automated testing in itself, but automated testing as a skill set as part of a full stack developer, yes. But nothing specifically with pure QA type of opportunities yet. There's some in the pipeline, but nothing that is real enough to post onto our website yet, at least. And just a FYI, like myself and Tony Jeffs are basically like the two single points of contact, like for anything that's task related opportunities. If you're talking with anybody about tasks and about getting placed, you'll be interfacing with us primarily. So there's not that many people in the process right now. It's pretty streamlined just to yeah, basically me and Tony. So if you ever need to get a hold of somebody, if you need to figure out what the holdup is with an opportunity, have any questions, just that task.community@topcoder.com. We'll answer your question as soon as we can. All right, what other questions you guys got? Any other questions? Do full stack developers need to know React? That just depends on the client requirement itself. So like the recent one required them to know React as like the front end language, and then like Java and everything else as like the back end. So it all just it all just depends. It all just depends on the client requirement itself. We Topcoder is known for doing like a lot of React. So when React opportunities do come up, they fill up very quickly, actually. And as we go along with this, our clients are going to understand what technologies that we're best at, and one of them is React. And React is a pretty common language, so if you want to develop that as one of your like your primary like front-end languages, that would not be necessarily a bad idea at all. It relaxes me, so I learn more and more. I know Java, Angular, but not React. Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to force you to learn like another language or anything like that. That's totally up to you. And there'll be other ones that come out that don't really care about React. It'll be something like totally different, but it's all based off the client requirement itself. So I wouldn't necessarily jump to learn everything they see there, because if it is a common language and someone at Topcoder is already very like expertly skilled on that, it could, from like a gamification standpoint, lessen your chances of getting that specific opportunity. So just keep that in mind as well. As a growth thing in general, yeah, like go ahead and learn whatever languages you want. It's all just JavaScript based anyway. All right. Any other questions from Brandon? If you have any questions, Amif is on. If you have any questions, feel free to put them on. Any questions? If we apply for Android, can we later apply for iOS? You could apply as many as you want. That is not a restriction whatsoever. If it comes to the point, if you become like a strong candidate for like a lot of those, you would have to make a decision. And if you don't, we'll probably have to end up making a decision for you too. So we don't want to overstretch you at all with these opportunities. And most likely with like the skill of what we're doing, I think it'll be hard to get on more than one anyway. And there's only so many hours in the day, right? So we're keeping those kind of utilization type things in mind too, as you kind of go through this and expand this program. No problem. Okay. I think we're getting closer to exhausting our questions. So yeah, again, feel free to reach out to me at taas.community@topcoder.com, taas.community@topcoder.com, and we'll be able to answer your questions. If you have anything that you want to let me know one-on-one, be able to answer for you. This is a developing program, but it's a very promising program at the same time. I think we're able to like help out like a lot of folks find like good work in the United States and obviously like all around the world as well. So that's kind of our mission here. We're really Topcoder in general, as I mean, you can believe it or not. Hopefully you'll believe it once you start doing work with us. We really are community centric, meaning that we care about like the folks that are part of our community, the people that are doing the development, the data science, the design. So once you're a part of like our family, like we'll take care of you. We'll be like a human face, as well as obviously like a digital face to the work that you're doing, and we'll kind of walk you along the process, get you help where you need it, get you income where you need it, and we're here to help you guys, like find that jobs, like not the other way around. So that's the entire presentation that we got. Again, reach out to us if you have any questions, and I'll stay on the line for at least like another minute before I close out the call. But thanks everybody for joining, and see you around hopefully sooner than later.